Hello there, very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to this edition of Primetime News. Bringing you the news tonight, I am Joel Outscored.
And I am Florine Rajendran.
Well, now the Ceylon Electricity Board Chairman Anura Vijaypala says it is best not to go for coal power.
More on this story later on in the bulletin tonight, but first a look at the headlines.
President emphasizes that he is prepared to make a series of political decisions after May Day.
General Secretary of the UPFA raises caution.
UNP and UPFA take strong stance on the recent resolution adopted by the Northern Provincial Council.
Disappeared ex-LTT member Ram taken into custody by the Terrorist Investigations Division.
Speaking in Polonnaruwa today, President Maithripala Sirisena said that several new political decisions will be made following the 1st of May for the good of the people.
The opening ceremony of a drinking water project in Mindavira was held under the auspices of the President today. The project, constructed to fulfill the drinking water needs of people in Lanka and Mindavira, cost the National Water Supply and Drainage Board a sum of 1.89 billion rupees. The project will provide clean water for about 15,000 families in the area. Work on Phase 2 of the Mindavira water supply project also commenced today. Certain forces that we defeated on the 8th of January 2015 are attempting to mislead the people by donning various masks. Governance in this country was plagued by greed for power, nepotism, corruption, fraud, theft and thuggery. Today the situation has changed. There is no space in this country for corruption, fraud, theft and wastage. If we discover such activities, we will take legal action and punish them as a government, regardless of their status or which political party they belong to. More than 6.25 million people voted for me because they had faith in me. I will uphold that trust. I hope to implement a new political program in the country following the 1st of May. I have decided to make several new decisions following the 1st of May for the good of the country and the people, on behalf of the democracy and freedom of the people. I wish to say to you clearly that we will not allow those who engaged in thuggery, those who stole and misused wealth of the people of this country, to return to power ever again. General Secretary of the United People's Freedom Alliance, Minister Mindavira, issued a warning today.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party is holding its May Day rally in Galle, and we made every attempt to involve everyone in it. It is best that everyone attends this rally to save our own identities. I requested for 50 buses this time around. But as of yesterday, I need 124 buses. This is not by handing out arak. These are original SLFPs.
Minister Mindavira expressed these views while addressing an event to welcome the new SLFP organizer for Kotte, Janaka Ranavaka.
The young Janaka who did politics back then had nothing but a future. Any item has its expiry date. We like certain things and we love certain things, but nothing lasts forever, does it? Everything has a rise and fall. We know the causes for this fall. It was because of those who went on about the Tarunayata Hetak nonsense. If anyone is to attend the rally in Kirlapana, I say it is solely to strengthen the victory the United National Party secured on the 17th of August, not to strengthen nor triumph the Sri Lanka Freedom Party. If an electorate organizer of the SLFP is not attending the biggest May Day rally in history in a respectful manner, what he or she should do is to resign from the post of electorate organizer of the party before deciding not to attend this rally. There has been a surge in the amount of drugs in the Kotte town over the last 6 months. There has also been a rise in underworld gangs. As an organizer in the government, I promise you that I will make this city the best city. Drugs should be wiped out from Kotte before this Poson Poya day.
A public meeting was held under the auspices of former Minister Basil Rajapaksa in Agaliya, Karandeniya today.
Since of late, former Minister Basil Rajapaksa has been visiting several areas in the island to engage in political activities of the joint opposition. DM Rajapaksa triumphed while in the Valikada prison. We are not afraid of that. There is no party difference to the May Day rally we are staging this time around. Those who are in favour of safeguarding the unitary state and sovereignty of the country and the freedom won for the people of this country will be attending the May Day rally in Kirlapana.
While convening a media briefing in Colombo today, the Sri Lanka Freedom Party expressed the following views.
A family
member of our former leader of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, who is also a former minister who took the forefront during the previous election, is going around the country today at local government level distributing large amounts of money to gather crowds to attend a May Day rally. I do not know how he amassed so much of wealth. Our former leader Mindavira Rajapaksa still has the opportunity to think about the party and come to a certain decision.
Former Minister Professor Thisavitharana states that the purchase of electricity by the Ceylon Electricity Board from private sectors for a higher price will be a cost the consumer will have to bear. However, Deputy Minister of Power and Renewable Energy Ajit P. Perera asserts that the consumer will not be burdened by the cost.
The Ceylon Electricity Board had sought the permission of the Public Utilities Commission on the 1st of April to obtain electricity from a privately owned power plant in Amblipitia. Rejecting the request, the Commission had informed the CEB that there is no need for urgent purchasing of electricity. However, the CEB had added 100 megawatts of electricity to the national grid after obtaining it from the privately owned power plant in Amblipitia. Meanwhile, the Public Utilities Commission scrutinized the CEB for seeking permission to purchase 155 megawatts of electricity when the Cabinet had only approved the purchasing of 135 megawatts at a time of need. The CEB had initially requested that permission be granted for the purchasing of 100 megawatts of electricity from the Amblipitia power plant, while making another request for an additional 55 megawatts of electricity.
Even though the electricity capacity of the Amblipitia power plant is at 100 megawatts, it can only generate 80 megawatts. The calculation was made taking into consideration that 100 megawatts could not be generated. However, permission was later granted on the premise that 100 megawatts of power could be generated. There is no hiding nor any sort of con involved. The changes that occurred when an agreement was signed to meet the full capacity from the Amblipitia power plant is what stirred the controversy.
It is only a handful of electricity engineers who make policy decisions. The rest do not belong to this mafia. It is this handful of people who control it and obtain electricity from the private sector for a higher price. The unit price is 3 rupees for hydropower, while in Norocholi it is 6 rupees. We have been informed that an agreement has been signed to make a payment of 31 rupees per unit to private companies. This additional cost falls on the shoulders of the general public. As the Public Utilities Commission states, it is unnecessary to depend on the private sector as it will only lead to fraud.
පුද්ගලිකාංශයට හැරෙන්න කිසිම උවමනාවක් නැහැ. ඒකෙන් වංචාවක් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ.
හැම ප්‍රශ්නයක්ම වංචාව තුළ දකින්න එකේ
I believe that viewing every problem as merely a fraud is unfair. It is unjustifiable to argue that the CEB and all its engineers are thieves. It is true that there are frauds in the CEB, but not all engineers should be held responsible.
And on to a story that we touched on at the start of the bulletin. Speaking at a conference in Colombo today, Chairman of the Ceylon Electricity Board, Anura Vijaypala, expressed the following views.
We plan to have major thermal power plant additions into our system. The earliest to come will be 2 into 250 megawatt coal power plant at Sampur and another 2 into 300 megawatt coal power plant and Trincomalee. As for the CEB, it is best not to go for coal power because they are very cumbersome to operate, difficult to get permits, difficult to get environmental clearance. So in that respect, we must prefer to go for things like oil, gas, etc. because they are cleaner, easy to control. You can shut down it today, start it tomorrow. Coal power plant? No. You shut down it today, wait 2 and 3 days to get it back. The moment electricity goes, they compare with the Europe. But remember, why is that? Why they do it? Because they have a trust that the CEB can do it. And I'm happy to say we will do it.
Meanwhile, a Pakistani national has been arrested at the Khatnak International Airport with heroin worth about 87 million rupees. Sri Lanka Customs said that the suspect had 8.7 kilograms of heroin concealed in his luggage.
The JVP made several revelations regarding yet another controversial bond issue by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka.
Major fraud accusations were levelled at Ranil Wickramasinghe's friend over the central bank bond issue. He is still the governor of the central bank. In February, another bond issue was held, and just as in the previous controversial bond issue, they announced that they were raising 40 billion and then accepted bids for up to 80 billion. They are renewing the same old transaction, and for the past year, the company that has purchased and sold the most amount of bonds in the primary market is the central bank governor's son-in-law's company. The Employees Provident Fund amounts to 1,300 billion. The EPF can make direct bids or invest, but instead, what is being done now is that the EPF is buying bonds from the primary traders. When bonds worth 1,000 million are sold to the EPF at the 1% discount price with a reduced interest rate, when the bonds mature, the EPF incurs a loss of 80 million on the interest. We told the government previously as well that this sort of theft from the EPF must be stopped. We will take steps to lodge complaints with the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption and the Corruption Eradication Secretariat on Wednesday.
The Sri Lanka Freedom Party said today that no agreement has been reached whatsoever regarding a federal system. The SLFP made this statement in response to the recent resolution adopted by the Northern Provincial Council.
C.V. Vigneswaran, the Chief Minister of the Northern Province, submitted a document to the Provincial Council recently detailing policies that should be considered when drafting a new constitution. The resolution was adopted unanimously by the councillors.
Much like in India, where states are divided linguistically, Sri Lanka must be declared to contain two broad linguistic states. The Northern and Eastern Province consisting of a majority Tamil-speaking state and the other 7 provinces consisting of a majority Sinhala-speaking state. In order to ensure that no one community of people dominate the other communities nor subordinate them to hold them independence on them, it is essential that a federal system of government is adopted in preference to a unitary system of government.
As per the resolution adopted by the Northern Provincial Council, the North and East should be established as a separate administrative unit as a Tamil-speaking state. The resolution also states that Tamil-speaking upcountry Tamils must be identified, recognized and accepted as a unit within the rest of the country, while the Greater Colombo area, which is cosmopolitan, must be recognized to be the chief metropolitan unit of the country, having a separate administration. The resolution states that the question whether the remaining Sinhala-speaking state needs to be further divided internally should be decided by the Sinhalese people. Furthermore, it notes that adequate self-rule must be provided to these state governments, while the agent of the federal government will not be entitled to any executive powers. The resolution adds that the official and national languages of Sri Lanka shall be Sinhala and Tamil, and English shall be the link language.
This speaks of the powers of the states and not about the Chief Minister. I hope the media will clarify this. This was drafted by a 19-member committee including the Chief Minister Sivaji Lingam and I. Criticising Vigneswaran is similar to attacking all 38 councillors.
There are two concepts that we have to consider. One is the right of expression, which is enshrined in our constitution. The other is that these are special persons who have taken an oath that they will defend the unitary constitution. They are violating that provision, which is a very serious matter. And also we have to remember that the merger is still a possible concern as far as the constitution is concerned, because there's provision, but it has a very dangerous aspect. This will undoubtedly lead to great deal of disturbances in the south, and this is an effort by the northern politicians to rouse the south. This is undoubtedly the work of extremists on both sides of the divide, who are trying to prevent any kind of reconciliation or amicable settlement to the existing problems of Sri Lanka. So we must be undoubtedly watch that this kind of thing is not allowed to grow, because it will accelerate once again communal disharmony.
This is to do with whether a provincial council has the constitutional right to step outside of its framework, which is strictly provincial, and to pass a resolution for the second time on something that is completely outside their purview and therefore is utterly unconstitutional. Now, if they had had a seminar, the same people had gone somewhere else, Veerasingham Hall or the Jaffna University, had a seminar and then had a show of hands in which they supported federalism, that would have been something else. It's not unconstitutional. But as the Northern Provincial Council, it has absolutely no right whatsoever, constitutionally, to pass a resolution on subjects of this sort.
The resolution is one that must be considered. What are the Muslim people saying? Are the Muslim people ready to live with the Tamil people as one? Several Muslim ministers and MPs are saying no. I say that this is also a very important matter that must be discussed. So if the Muslim people of the East are not prepared for this, then the Tamil people of the North must think about moving towards an idea that is only for the North. In the past, these people were hoping that the Provincial Council would receive all due powers and that the army would be confined to barracks as was promised. This was not done. Lands have not been returned to the Tamil people as yet. Because of this, major opposition is rising among the Tamil people. If actions are taken by force without problems being resolved, then we may come to a position where provincial self-government will be declared unfit. Radical ideas will then come to the forefront. We believe that a solution is necessary. There must be a solution to the problem facing the Tamil people. It is pointless for various people to dictate what the solution is in provincial councils and in parliament. A broad social dialogue is necessary for this. A federal system of governance will not in any way be conducive to bringing about national harmony in Sri Lanka. The adoption of such resolutions in the provincial councils gives rise to communalism once again. As a party, we went before the Supreme Court and divided the northern and eastern provinces. So the people of this country will in no way allow them to be merged again for the establishment of a federal state. There were several proposals in that, not just the merger of the north and east. One was to establish a Muslim region in the eastern province, an autonomous administrative unit. A separate administrative unit for upcountry people of Indian origin is also proposed. The SLFP and UNP members of this government are silent on this. No one is speaking about this. The clear stance of the SLFP is that we are not in agreement with the federal system. We are not prepared to discuss it either. Since certain forces did not confer the powers of the 13th Amendment to the provincial councils, let us discuss that. We can with humility decide how to implement provisions in the constitution. Resolutions can be adopted and referred here, but there will be no cooperation on our side. I wish to especially note that there will be no cooperation from our side on the proposal to merge the North and East either. We have established a strong and stable government in Sri Lanka. Both major political parties are represented in this government, so we will not be troubled over minor resolutions that are adopted at various places. At the national level, everyone in Parliament is in the process of formulating a program that will serve justice to everyone. This government is bound to uphold the unitary state.
ආරක්ෂා කිරීම සඳහා මේ රජය බැලී සිටිනවා.
We cannot make a conclusive statement regarding the matter. Anybody can present a proposal depending on their views and stances, but the final decision is not made there. It is made here.
General Secretary of the Ceylon Teachers Services Union, Mindavira, arrived at the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division today. The gathering of evidence on the financial irregularities surrounding the purchasing of computers for local laboratories was conducted today following a complaint lodged by Mindavira on the 11th of this month.
Rajapaksa Yugayedi.
A sum of 5,895 million rupees was obtained to purchase computers for school laboratories through 7 cabinet papers during the Rajapaksa administration between 2013 and 2014. The audit reports released by the audit department and the cabinet papers clearly indicate heavy financial frauds were committed during the purchasing of these computers. Minister of Education at the time, Basil and Rajapaksa, who was functioning as the Minister of Finance, have approved the tender papers or cabinet papers. Minister Rajapaksa was also involved in this. We have provided an extensive account to the FCID in this regard. It has come to light that a sum of 65 million rupees that was obtained from the contractors of the Mindavira laboratory construction program is currently in bank accounts. We hope that measures will be taken to recover the monies of the taxpayers through proper legal means.
Sweden's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Margot Wallström, arrived at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs this morning.
The visiting Swedish Foreign Minister was welcomed by Foreign Minister Mindavira and the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Kulashal Silva. The Swedish Foreign Minister signed the guest book at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, following which bilateral discussions were held.
We discussed working together to ensure that the people of our country benefit from these changes and from the peace and democratic dividend. We also discussed ways of making our partnership stronger, including enhancing development assistance, bilateral trade, tourism and investment. Specifically, I extended Sri Lanka's appreciation of Sweden's continued development assistance over the last 50 years. By June, a number of important bills will be introduced in Parliament to create an even more efficient, dynamic and secure business environment conducive for investment. Sri Lanka, I would say, by then will be truly open for business.
And Foreign Minister Mindavira and myself have just had a very fruitful and excellent meeting, and we have noted first of all that Sweden and Sri Lanka have a long-standing relationship and that we both have an interest in strengthening our bilateral cooperation and also working together on many of the issues that your Foreign Minister has already mentioned. I have also welcomed the Sri Lankan government's policy of active engagement and involvement with the international community.
Police media spokesperson SP Ruan Gunasekara says that a rehabilitated former LTTE head Idimala Sangam Arichandran alias Ram, who had been reintegrated into society and was allegedly abducted yesterday, is in the custody of the Terrorist Investigation Division.
The Tirukkovil police received a complaint from Ram's wife yesterday that he had been abducted by an unidentified group in Ampara. His wife had informed police that 3 persons, 2 dressed in civil attire and 1 wearing a uniform similar to that of a police officer, had kidnapped Ram at around 8:30 last morning in a blue vehicle at Tambiluville. The police media spokesperson's office said the former LTT head, known as Ram, who was rehabilitated by the state in 2009, was reintegrated to society in 2013 and has since been engaged in agriculture in Tirukkovil.
An event to provide housing under the Samata 7 project was held in Ambanthota today.
Loans were provided to 630 families today under the Samata 7 concessionary housing loan scheme at the Veerakatia Fairgrounds in Hambantota. The event was held under the auspices of the subject minister Sajith Premadasa.
Our opponents say that the UMP scolded China and were eventually made to kneel before China. I wish to say to our opponents that we never reprimanded any nation. We did not reprimand China or the Chinese government. We criticized theft and corruption. Our major criticism was against underhand dealings when projects were implemented. Today you are being made to pay the incendiary interest rates for the Hambantota Harbour and Matale Airport that were built with loans from China and other places. The previous rulers failed to turn these projects into success. This is what we criticized.
Well, now the 8th session of the South Asian Climate Outlook Forum was held in Colombo today.
Having experienced 2 consecutive deficient summer monsoon years, there is a great deal of interest and expectation on what the forthcoming summer monsoon of 2016 has to offer for the South Asian region. That's why the public's attention is on all of us to provide them early indications of what this season has to offer. I hope the SASCOP platform will attain greater heights in its ability to provide climate outlook products required by the users in the South Asian countries.
Test batsman Kulashal Silva, who was hospitalized after being struck in the head by a ball yesterday, is now recovering. Doctors state that following a few days of rest, Silva will be able to return to training.
Kulashal Silva met with an accident while playing in a training match at the Pallekele International Stadium. He sustained a blow to the back of his head when he was struck by a powerful sweep from Dinesh Chandimal while fielding at short leg. Following field medical assistance, he was airlifted to a private hospital in Colombo. Sri Lankan cricketer Kulashal Silva was brought to a private hospital in Colombo for treatment after being hit by a ball during training sessions at Pallekele. Now, we were able to speak with Kulashal's parents regarding his health condition, and they said that he is recovering very fast and that he is out of a serious condition. We also spoke to the doctor who is in charge of Kulashal De Silva's health, Professor Arjuna De Silva. This is what he had to say.
I clearly said that his situation is not serious. He has sustained no major injuries and is now recovering. We are planning to discharge him by tonight or by tomorrow morning. Luckily, he had a helmet on, and this helmet had a new sternum guard which protects a player's neck. Unfortunate accidents like this happen, but that does not mean you stop playing cricket. You have to keep playing. We will collectively let you know on the resting time period.
Meanwhile, we inquired from the Secretary of Sri Lanka Cricket whether Kulashal will be joining the Sri Lankan squad that will tour England.
Kulashal's condition is now improving. However, we will remain until a recommendation is put forward by the medical committee. They will be sending their recommendations by today or tomorrow. Thereafter, the coaches will decide on his training schedules. We hope to include him for training by the end of this week so that he could be included in the squad that will tour England.
Well, with that, we wrap up primetime news here at Newsfirst. For the Newsfirst team, I am Florine Rajendran.
And I'm Zola Outskun. Thank you very much for stopping by. Take care and good night.